Fuck it. Hey, good afternoon, Aggie Land. We welcome you inside the TexAgs studio. It's episode 19 of Looch Bock. I'm Gabe Bock, joined by the source, TexAgs co-owner Billy Liucci. We're live at texags.com/live on the TexAgs YouTube channel and the podcast platform of your choice, weekly during football season and whenever the heck we want outside of football season. Looch Bock presented by Bock Realty Group. Luxury, new construction, first-time home buying, investment, real estate, and more. Incredible resources on our website, BockRealtyGroup.com, turning our advantage in our experience into your advantage. I should know that better since my wife wrote that.
What's
Billy,
up,
how you
man?
doing, man?
Not much. Just
Good,
chilling.
good. Absolutely.
Well,
Feels
like
good.
you said, whenever we want during the off season.
I like it.
We just
I also like these rainier days. Are you like that?
I do.
I kind of like that. I wouldn't want it every day.
I don't. I don't want to live in Seattle, but
No.
I do like some rain, some storms.
I know you like storms.
Like a good storm.
But just a nice, non-dangerous, rainy day that cools it down a little bit. I love days like this.
I like a good, like, active, like, thunderstorm day. Nothing too crazy, but just some good thunder and rain and lightning all day. But today it just feels like a little rain.
Speaking of Seattle, you been on any good trips lately?
No.
You got any planned?
Yeah, well, right now, Chicago in June.
All right. Back to the Barstool gang?
I'll see them when I'm up there, but and probably hang out at least once. But I'm doing a Cubs game Friday, and then
heck yeah,
I might boat on the lake for the first time. Up there, and then
Michigan
Saturday, and then Saturday night Morgan Wallen, and I think Ella Langley opens for him Saturday.
No way.
I would prefer Friday as Brooks and Dunn opening for him. But
no, come on.
I might do both. You never know. But anyway, that and then SEC Media Days are in Tampa this year.
Is that right?
First time. And I've actually never been to Tampa. I
haven't either.
I hear it's a good, fun city. I don't think anything special, but so I need to figure out beach and mountains in there.
Have you done Costa Rica? Because we got that planned this summer.
Never done Costa Rica. Okay. Everybody I know has.
Yeah, so me too. My mom's been there about 100 times.
Really? People are obsessed with it.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait.
I've actually never heard someone say they don't like it.
No. I hadn't heard anything bad except don't go traveling up that mountain at nighttime because of the Panthers.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, seriously. Like serious Black Panthers. Yes.
They have actual Black Panthers, not mountain lions.
Oh, I think so.
You know, they call mountain lions Panthers.
Talks about those all the time.
Okay.
Wow. Well, I think it's more dangerous than mountain lions. Which is dangerous enough.
Yeah, I would hate to lose you to the mountain lion.
Golf course by day, a little bit of fishing, and probably just hanging out.
I think I'm going to do Glacier this summer.
Oh, heck yeah! Because you've done Yellowstone.
Yeah, but man, it's so hard not to go back to that.
I know.
Tetons
and it's closer.
But I think I'm going to go Glacier. Okay. Is it close?
It's close. It's in Montana, isn't it?
Oh, Montana.
I mean, it's in Montana, Wyoming. I think Glacier's up even north, I think. Hey, look, I'm not a geography guy.
But anyway, that's the plan. So then I have to work in a beach trip, and then I got to work in another group I want to see. So anyway.
You got to get it in, man. You got to get it in, but you need to do it.
Keep your sanity, man.
But you have to do it. You have to plan around a good baseball team.
Yeah.
Because who knows what the heck's going to happen between now and the next 6 weeks.
And honestly, that Morgan thing is it's the weekend of the national championship series.
Oh, okay. So you might have you'll have a decision to make.
They got work to do in terms of, I think, pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Pitching
for sure.
For me to think they can make that kind of run. But I mean, I was talking to somebody today, and
everybody's
it's like, remember Ole Miss? And I'm not saying A&M is way better right now than that Ole Miss team was. This was about the time that Ole Miss team caught fire.
Don't forget they were the last team in the dance.
They were the last team in. So it's not even like I'm not comparing to that team because, like you said, they were the last team in. I'm saying, though, the reason they made that run, now these guys were young, but they had a couple pitchers really come into their own, and it changed the whole dynamic of that team. For A&M, if the Aggies can just get one of the two to kind of hit a hot hot streak or kind of turn that corner out of Moss and Sadeo. And obviously, as we sit here today, you're looking at Weston, and you're like, what if his last 3 starts look like?
Oh, going back to Baton Rouge?
Yeah.
He looks as good as he's
Rouge,
looked.
Gainesville, and
in an A&M uniform, I think. Maybe had a little month run out of the pen last year that was really good. But
so, I mean, if you told me today that you're going to get last 3 Sundays Weston Moss to go with Aiden Sims in this lineup, my next thing would be, okay, how quickly can we get Hakopian back in the field and Partita playing? Because
that's huge.
Nothing against those other guys. It's great depth, and they really helped A&M win a really important game on Sunday. But
definitely, well,
it just shakes up. There's such a domino effect to me. Like you got Grahovic at third, where Partita's been so good at third. You move Grahovic from first, where he's been so good, and then you take Hakopian out of second, and then all of a sudden, because of all this, you can't really play Keel, who's a dynamic left fielder, and so
because you have to play Dewar.
Yeah, so get rather than DH Dewar or what
who's been white hot again.
So get these guys. Really Dewar struggled against Auburn, which, by the way, I'm going to say this, and hopefully he broke out. He had such a great game last night.
Yeah.
But I walk out of here the other day, and Dewar was coming in for an interview, and me and Nuno had run late, or I had made Nuno run late.
Yeah, but lunch with Liucci extends into the early afternoon. Sometimes.
So I go out there, and in the lobby, I literally walk up, and I made a comment about it to Dewar. I said, man, you're really going to – good luck this weekend after those. I walk out, and Bronny's – I'm not exaggerating. You guys know I like to exaggerate and have fun. He is giving him hitting pointers to this guy that's going through SEC baseball and doing a pretty damn good job of it, and had a great
was he telling him he's opening up too early and
it was
stay
stuff like that, and
he's getting on his front
and I'm
foot.
just in my head, I go, well, this guy's cooked for this weekend, and sure enough, I think he went 0 for the weekend. So
Bronny knows
great job, coach. Undermining whatever the hell Early and those guys are doing over there with his.
Man, that's.
I mean, literally, ruined the whole series.
Well, does that surprise you?
No. But people don't understand. That really happened. I'm not making that up at all. Yeah, and everyone that works here knows. They're like, yeah, of course he was. So hopefully this Prairie View game got him out of that.
If you take a broom handle and you just you got to get here with it. Get your hips going.
It was just with him, it's about spin rate and exit velo and he hit that one. So, anywho.
He's just hitting the ball at a lower angle. His launch angle's a little
I
off.
like the one about the higher it goes up, the closer you were to hitting the home run. Really? You think?
That's good.
That
dude's one of a kind, man. One of a kind.
So, well.
But you're sitting here and there are questions.
But they're really damn good.
They are, man. They're good, man. 15-8 in the SEC. They hold the tiebreaker with Texas. Sitting here with 36 wins, only 10 losses. I mean, they're concerns, but I really can't. Look, last year I was very. Who wasn't? Who was it? If you're being honest with yourself, very concerned
about the direction.
Well, just like, hey,
do you have some?
Is he a hitting coach or is he a head coach?
Do you have some tweets that would look pretty bad?
Probably in my drafts.
Did you do anything? Well, that's fine. See, drafts and conversation, that's fine. I wouldn't, I'm 1,000,000% rooting for Mike Early.
Me too.
Him and his family, and I know what the players think of him. And I thought he got a raw deal last year with everybody.
That's true.
Jumping 100%. On this bullshit of, his best friends. We want a coach, not a best friend. That was so overblown. That was so.
No, I think the valid point is he head coach yet or not?
Yeah.
Or he was learning.
Is he ready?
I tell you what, he looks ready to me. There are a couple things I can make, but I tell you what, he's made huge strides. So give credit where it's due. Yeah, of course.
Imagine that. And look, this was also imagine what Gavin Grahovic and Caden Sorrell healthy for a whole season means to a baseball team. I'm not saying they would have gone to Omaha last year just because of that, because I think there were too much. But
that was off this team.
Imagine those two guys like you're probably like a regional host. Just if I throw 2 first, second round bats and just dogs of competitors right there at the top of your lineup.
I don't disagree with you because what that does to calm the waters for Jace when he's got those 2 All-Americans in front of him and behind him or whatever. So that's huge.
So just that in and of itself, much less like what you were kind of asked to do via the expectations and kind of reining some guys in that the last year were like just it wasn't lightning in a bottle because it built to that, but that was just an all-time A&M team that could kind of operate a certain way and still go out and win, and they were the most fun-loving A&M team I think I've ever seen.
Oh,
and then you know, all of a sudden then you turn it over to like, I think there was a transition of like, you know, say Jason Hayden and some of those guys that were still there.
Mm-hmm.
You plug in some transfers, but then you've got the more, I think, you know, buttoned up, business-like approach guys like Gavin and Caden. And so it was just, and then you throw in a new coach and all kinds of emotion along with all kinds of expectation.
And an obscene amount of injuries. It was historic.
Yeah. And so a terrible setup, right?
Yeah.
And that didn't guarantee that Early was going to do what he's done this year. But like the amount of I think, emotional piling on and lashing out on him, some of the A&M players that were the same guys that everybody's going up to, you know, Northgate and seeing out, and they're taking pictures with you, they're talking to you about baseball,
spending thousands of dollars in Omaha for that same group.
And then you're trashing them a year later. And I by trashing, I don't mean that thing last year deserved criticism. That thing last year deserved hard questions to be asked, but you don't have to go all the way to the finish line with it. And you also don't have to, you could even question like, hey, should he be back? I always was in the camp of, yes, of course, because let's just see and then decide. But for some, they'd seen enough. That's fine too. But it was just the delivery of it and the way certain people, and those same people, and I had it out with one of them today who's just been, dude, like lives here local, like lives in my mentions on social media. It's like, dude, like, you don't like me? I don't give a shit. Quit worrying about me.
So this wasn't Comedy Club Carter?
No, it wasn't
on
like,
social media, like that host that you got into a couple days ago. That old radio host in Monroe, Louisiana.
Yeah, like talking about Zane.
He's a comedian, you know.
Yeah, well, he's a crappy comedian then.
Oh, really?
But he, like, to sit there and like, I was like, okay, you're an annoying person on Twitter. You're one of our worst fans on social media. Like, I wish you would just, like, stop rooting for A&M, go somewhere else. And I look, and it's like, all these tweets, I just typed in Early. It's that quick, Early. Some of the stuff was said, I'm like, it's ridiculous.
Still saying stuff?
No, like, no. Now,
okay,
like, I'm sitting there on board, like, no, you shouldn't even get, like, normal fans are going to ride the wave.
Mm-hmm.
But those of you that, like try to humiliate these coaches, athletes, and say, like, the worst, crappiest stuff imaginable when they're struggling or it's not going well, because that's just your anger and you have to put it out there, then I got no time for you.
Mm-hmm.
Question it, dislike the results, be unhappy, question the direction, question, you know, a commitment level if you think you see guys dogging, whatever. Those are all, like, it's fair and normal as a fan. There are people that take it too far, and I felt like so many took it so far with Mike Early, but it's like they took it so far that they didn't let just the common sense set in. And last year, Gabe, I've gone through this, like, the last 7-8 weeks of the season, they were a really good baseball team.
Oh, you're right.
Except for one damn weekend.
Freaking Mizzou, man.
One damn weekend, and that was as bad as it gets. And if you wanted to go into the offseason, go, man, that just makes me not trust.
Did they win another game in the SEC last year, other than our series? Guess how many they won this year?
Not many.
4.
Yeah.
So they won 7 in 2 years, 3 in 48 hours. That's unbelievable.
It was the craziest. And you were up like 6-1 in that game or something. 6-1. So, point being, though, going back to Tennessee last year and last April till now, this team's been playing it like a regional host, borderline top 8 seed. They really have. And you have that one disaster series. And look, you didn't win the Auburn series this weekend, but here's where they're at to me. Let's take the last 3 series against teams with a chance to go to Omaha. I think people overhype Florida, and maybe they're coming around to it, but Florida's been in the discussion. But Auburn is squarely in the middle of it. There could probably be a top 8 seed. That's where that series could cost you.
Didn't they look like a title contender to you out there?
With those two pitchers
and their pitchers and their offenses come on.
They look real.
They're the hottest team in the country right now.
They are real.
Yeah.
But you go Auburn, Texas, and Florida in Gainesville. Okay? Yeah. So you played what? 8 games, and you went 5-3. And you faced Auburn's 2 aces, who are both studs. You faced Florida. What's his name? The Friday night guy.
It's King.
King on Friday.
So good.
And you didn't
Best
face
pitcher in the league.
And you didn't face Volantis, but you did face Ruger.
That's right.
So you faced in 8 games. I think you faced 4 like A+ level SEC pitchers, and you played 3 teams that have eyes on Omaha, 2 that are like probably be listed on most people's mocks.
Don't forget, I was at Baton Rouge. The Friday and Saturday night guys are going to be first 2 rounders.
Yeah. Forget that.
They're ridiculous.
But I'm leaving that series out because they stink.
They're on a low point. Yeah.
But you're right about the pitching they faced. But my point of saying that is you just played 8 games against teams that are going to be considered Omaha contenders, 2 that are going to be in everyone's field.
Yes.
And you went 5-3 in those 8. So you can do a snapshot of this weekend and just say, well, they really just no-showed on Friday, and I still say that has a lot to do with starting pitching. You know, or the pitching in general. When you go out and give up that many runs in the first 3 innings, you're just usually going to get blown out.
No, especially that first game. It was over 4 stars.
But 5-3 in 8 games against teams that absolutely will contend for Omaha.
It's a meat grinder.
That's
every
where
single
A&M
year,
is, though.
every single week.
They're one of them.
Yeah.
Period. But
There's
guess
no
what?
doubt.
Guess what? So's Ole Miss.
I know.
You're going to Oxford, and so's Mississippi State. So
yeah, I'm so tired of the Mississippi schools.
They just got to get healthy. Hey, wait a second. The Aggies have been.
We've done good against them lately, but you go back to my era, we sucked against them.
Yeah, but we got Gabe. We got to get past that.
I know. You're right.
We got to get. As fans, like they've been kicking the crap out of Mississippi State. And I don't know if every game's been kicking the crap, but they've been beating them in football.
Yeah.
Which they should. They always should have, except for the Dak Mullen years. But they've been beating them in football, but they haven't played Ole Miss in football and won't still.
Yeah. We're handling LSU.
They've been kicking Chris Beard's ass all over the place.
That's true. That's true. How about that?
And then I don't know what the Ledger recently says in baseball, but I would imagine that since like say the start of Slosh getting here, I bet that record's pretty good.
I think so too. Let's do this because I want to give you an opportunity, and I'm going to as well. And we might very well have the same guy, but dog of the quote unquote week. You know, it's weekly during football season, but this is a baseball topic here. Dog of the week, Dogleg Golf. It's our little add-on. You know, they're a big sponsor on TexAgs.
Oh yeah.
College Station's newest indoor golf simulator facility. You got to check this place out if you haven't already. Whether you look to practice your swing, play a full round with friends, just hang out and have some fun, Dogleg Golf has you covered. Top-of-the-line simulators, comfortable bays, and laid-back atmosphere that's perfect for golfers of all levels, even my poor level. Rain or shine, it's always tee time at Dogleg. Over there, Texas Avenue, kind of by just north of the old police station. There at Texas Avenue, right next to 40 Tempura and Brown Shoe Store. Dogleg with 2 G's, -golf.com. All right, baseball edition. Aggies on a heater. Who's the dog that's really been leading them?
I mean, I think if you just say you have to pick one, it's pretty clear you have to pick between Gavin and Caden, you know, Grahovic and Sorrell, and I think you have to go Gavin just even right up until last night. I mean, he's just been – it's not just how he's hitting. It's playing first base on a draft year. It's moving over to third in the middle of the Auburn series and doing what he did, literally just going to the dugout and exchanging gloves. And
I love it.
It's so hard, and then it's not affected. He's just been incredible at the plate.
Really has.
It doesn't matter if it's Florida, if it's LSU, if it's Auburn, if it's Texas. He's like National Player of the Year type stuff. Certainly first team All-American level play, and it's been.
Yeah, I agree. D1 baseball says he's top first baseman. So,
and he and Sorrell are climbing up that career home run chart, and they wouldn't have caught Jace, but Gavin's doing it, and he's doing it basically. He's going to do it in 2 years. He
played 6 games last year.
Yeah, like that doesn't even.
Caden missed half the year last year,
and Caden missed half of a year, and so Caden's doing it in not even 2.5 years yet, and Gavin's doing it in less than 2 years. So where would those guys be? I think had they been healthy last year, normal health, like maybe you missed a few games here or there, but normal health, I think those two guys are sitting at. They might be at 2-3 all time. I don't know what was.
Jace finished with Zane 67 or 68.
And what was Dalen?
Oh, Dalen he had 34, but he had a down year this year after that, and he was great the year he was 34.
I feel like he was in the low 50s or mid 50s.
Yeah, I think so. 56. Okay, there you go.
56, and what are these guys both at now?
They're both
40,
knocking on
42, 43,
yeah,
44.
Yeah. One of them's knocking on 50. Isn't
they'd have both been. You'd have had 1, 2, and 3 all-time home runs at A&M had played on the same team for 2 years.
I know.
It's
Well, I
crazy.
looked this up because I'm with you. It's Gavin, like not just what he's done offensively, defensively. What he's brought at first base has been great. He's one of the best defensive first basemen in the country. Yet when Partita goes down, it's like, all right, I'm just going to go be elite over there. And then he goes and makes a ball play immediately. The ball's going to find you.
Yeah.
Baseball will test you.
Well, I mean, it's going to find you at third base regardless.
That's question.
That's the one spot
No question.
we know third and short is going to find you.
Yeah,
and that is one
absolutely.
of the things where A&M, when you talk about concerns too, it's, Kellner has had his struggles at short, but it is what it is. I saw someone the other day suggesting all these changes. It's like, no, we're
kind of riding out,
past
don't
that
you?
now.
Yeah.
Like there's anything you suggest has been thought of and thought to be not as good as the alternative.
I agree. And when your OBP is 434 and you hit just behind a guy whose OBP is 503, that is why Grahovec's got 64 ribbies in the leadoff spot. Because, these guys are making huge impact down there just getting on base.
If it weren't for Jorian and for Nico, on a normal year, you'd be looking at Boston Kellner and going, damn, what a job he's doing as a true freshman on this veteran team, playing shortstop and getting on base like he is. Like, that's a hell of a freshman year. But it just kind of gets lost in the shuffle of what Gavin and Caden, but in this case, what those other freshmen are doing.
Yeah. Now, I looked this up. A&M's record with a healthy Gavin Grahovec. What I didn't have time to do was look up games they played at the same time. It's probably even better.
Gavin and Caden?
Yeah. But let's just take out Caden. I didn't have time to look it up. Gavin Grahovec, games played, what's A&M's record? 93-26.
Wow.
Like when that guy's in the lineup, let alone Caden, it's even better, I'm sure, when he is. 782 winning percentage. As freshman, 6 games as a sophomore, went 5-1, and then all throughout this year. He's a winner, man, and he's got a winner's heart, and the dude's an absolute leader.
I'd like to see that in SEC games because you would have all of the 24 seasons, which they finished, I forget what they were, the 18 and 12, 19, whatever.
Yeah.
You'd have all
15 and 8 right now.
And plus 15 and 8, plus 2 and 1 in Hoover last year.
True.
I think they were 0 and 2 in Hoover the year before, or that year we're talking about. And then you would have he didn't
19
play.
and 11 last year in regular season.
2 years ago.
Yeah, so 34 and 19.
34 and 19 in SEC play.
And
then you can go ahead and put Omaha in there too.
Yeah.
Where you went 4 and 2.
Mm-hmm.
So what'd you say? 34 and 19. So 38 and 21 in SEC play. So more than half of those games are against
Don't
national
forget, every single
program.
game in Omaha was against the SEC, was it not?
Yeah.
Florida and Kentucky and Tennessee. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They were 4 and 2 in Omaha and didn't win a national title.
What
That's
we're
crazy.
watching right now is an A&M Sports Hall of Famer. So is Caden.
Yep.
and both of them will be gone, and this is your opportunity to watch this last 6 weeks, something special on display. Don't forget, going into Missouri, he gets his hand stepped on. I'm like, is he out for the year?
I know.
That's how the fan in me responds. The next day, he drops 2 bombs and hasn't looked back.
Dude, they're a tough team. And look, you look at Hakopian get hit in the face with that pitch. And then he takes that shot, and him and Jorian run into each other, and he's out there still hitting. Like, there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Like baseball, it's non-contact. Like, no, but you have to be tough. Like, you have to be tough physically. You have to be tough mentally. Like that just tells you how bad these guys want to play. And that rubs off on those young guys. It rubs off. So, I mean, I think, look, we know they've got some, it's not like limitations. They got some weaknesses. No one's really the perfect team.
That's
UCLA's been sitting at 1 all year, but they don't play anyone anymore. I know they beat A&M back before A&M, I think, had any kind of confidence. But
I think Gasparino hit like 10 bombs through our game, and what's he sitting at, like 16? Not much.
You know what's funny is, and I know he hit him against A&M.
Maybe
someone had told me, Gasparino was looking at A&M. He can talk all the shit he wants, but yeah, he was absolutely very interested in transferring to A&M.
I think he didn't because he thought Gavin, what's his name, was going to be sitting there.
Remember, there were probably questions of how he'd fit in the locker room.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think because of like Longley, that connection, that was a possibility.
Okay.
But I think he's also from California, and I don't know exactly why it didn't work out, whether it was his side or A&M's side. But there was quiet but real interest there. And look, there's a reality to it. Like, his bat would help you win a lot of games, but then you go back and you look at his bat against SEC pitching last year at Texas, and I don't think he was that great. Now, again, I say that when he hit a bomb against A&M, but that's 1 game sample size. You have way more than that you can go off of. So maybe, we'll see. Like,
wasn't he the guy that was talking crap to our glasses spectacled first baseman that transferred from Texas and Tech?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So, that's they had a feud going way back too. But I think, of course, point being, like, sometimes it's not about what somebody does early in the year. It's not about what it looks like on paper, like whether something's a fit or not. And I'm trying to think. I mean, I don't know if it's Jake Dewar that you got instead, or was it Wesley Jordan? I don't know. And Jordan's tough to tell because of the injury, but I think Dewar's been really good for them this year.
Man, he really is. He really is. All right, I got a couple stats for you. Neck and neck statistically, Sorel Grahovic, if you've looked at this. But who do you think wins at season end? We'll go through these fast. But Grahovic's got 67 hits, Sorel 62. 5-hit lead for Gavin.
I mean, I guess Gavin. For the way they both hit, that for normal people that might be a 10-hit lead.
Exactly.
Because of the way the rate at which they're striking the baseball right now.
Gavin, he's really cut down on the strikeouts. 19 walks and 12 hit batsmen to 31 Ks. Sorel 54. So I agree with you. Just more bat to ball skills this year, which is interesting. I wouldn't have said that going into this year. Doubles. Sorel 14, Grahovic 13. I'm gonna hold you to this, by the way.
I mean, I'll split the difference here and go Sorel.
Okay.
Flip-flop.
Like it. Homers. You think this is crazy because he had like a 12-homer lead. But he's at Sorel's at 21. Grahovic's now up to 17. Only 4 back.
I would love if Gavin catches him because I think Sorel's going to hit his share. And that would mean Gavin hits about another like 8 along the way, 8 or 10. But I'm going to go Sorel. I think they're both going to keep hitting.
Yeah, they'll both be over 25, I think. All right, Grahovic is at 64 ribbies, and Sorel is only at 62, just 2 off, but he has the benefit of getting Grahovic on base. What do you think?
In that instance, I'll go Sorel.
Okay. I'm kind of leaning that way too.
Although it does feel like a lot of times Gavin's clearing them.
Yes,
before Sorel comes in.
That's
but
true.
I'll go Sorel. I've got.
I mean, 17 of his 64 ribbies is himself, and the other guy is Bear Harrison.
Yeah.
And Bear's not hitting in the 5-hole, so maybe he's gonna.
Bear's had to quiet, not so quiet when you see those home runs he's hit, but he's been a guy that. I would say, like, from start of season till now, might be most improved. I mean, not counting, like, Jorian, who was a true freshman, but, I mean, Bears had a hell of a year.
Yeah, I agree. Just FYI, on OPS, it's super high, too, which is wow, because that goes into the 1,200 range, and it's still, 11, 15-point difference out of 1,000. 15,000.
I'll go Gavin there just to even it out.
All right, 1189 for Gavin, 1205 for Caden. Now let's go Bear, because you're right. He's having one of the quieter off seasons in the SEC. I mean, offensive seasons in the SEC.
Yeah,
he's top 10 in OPS. He's on base percentage is over 500, 503, doing it, and he's catching every single day, and he's doing it at a good level.
Throwing people out.
Do you have a decent grasp for that guy's draft prospects? Because I would have to think this guy is moving up, because an offensive catcher like this who catches every day and does it at a high level, there's a lot to like about Bear Harrison professionally.
Yeah, I haven't, honestly, just to be honest with you, I have not asked anyone that question. I do not know the answer. But I know I like what he's doing for Texas A&M.
No question.
Right now, and he's a great kid, great young man, and I think I like that he transferred over here from St. Mary's. He's had a really good experience. And you know, last year, he did some good things when A&M, he was right in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, like, when A&M's playing well, it's like when A&M's playing well, Bear Harrison's playing well.
Hottest hitter in the country at Knoxville last year, and Arkansas.
Yeah,
and his brother is in the major leagues. He's with the Brewers. I mean, this guy's just been on the radar forever. I'd be surprised if this guy weren't a higher prospect more than we're thinking.
I don't think anything, because I'm coming from in the question you asked me, like, this is one of those things, if I ever was here for a pre-production meeting, you'd be like, I'm going to ask you this, and I'd say, well, don't, because I don't know. Or I'd say, well, let's fire off a text real quick.
Exactly. I'd like to know.
Maybe next time we'll revisit this.
Because I hadn't seen it on any of it. Because they usually do the top 40 list or the top 100, and you see Gavin and Caden and Akopi in there, and maybe some Sadeo in there, maybe Moss. And you don't see anything about Bear Harrison.
No.
So he's having a good year.
He really is.
Pitching-wise, I want to get into Gavin Lyons for a second. So since the Texas series, this guy went out there and went 4 1/3 to close out the 2-game sweep, right? And since that point, counting that day, there he is against Texas, 17 1/3, 3 earned, 1.56 ERA, throwing basically one pitch at you from a weird angle, 5 walks and 16 Ks. I mean, this guy, you want to talk about, is there one guy who has done the most to make our pitching situation more formidable? Hard to overlook what 27's doing right now.
What he and Fresh Corner are doing is like, you know, you talk all day about question marks, about pitching and this and that, but Sims, Lyons, and Fresh Corn, man, they've been just pretty magnificent. And Lyons, you know, no one had him. I don't think I heard anyone mention him outside of like a Tuesday night. I don't even know how much I heard about him in relief. It was more like Tuesday. Didn't he start the season on Tuesdays?
Mm-hmm.
And
you kind of loop him and Cole Hubert and these guys together, and you just like, hey, I don't know
see
what
who
to
emerges,
think.
but he has certainly emerged, and he's just mentally, like, I love the disposition and the competitive DNA I see. And you talk about the arm angle, and that clearly gives him an advantage on the mound, makes him difficult to hit, but difficult to see the ball or whatever. But I just think it's what's like right here. He's just got that it factor of coming in and saying, hey, he's just fully embraced that role. And for people that are trying to think about what do we do with pitching, what if you used him as an opener and didn't? No.
I love the role he's in.
Leave it be. What he's doing right now makes him one of the most valuable players on your team. It's almost like it's a completely different way of doing things, but he's like Chris Cortez was for that 20. You going to say who?
No, go. Finish your point. It's great.
Like for that 2014, which is he can come in a game and get you 4 or 5 innings of clean baseball or relatively clean baseball against these SEC teams and these elite teams when you most desperately need it over the course of a weekend. And if you don't have to use them that long, you can use them a couple times to get you out of some spots on the weekend. So completely different way of doing things. And obviously Cortez had that MLB heater and all that stuff. But the what they mean to the deal. Like, you remember, I mean, there's a million examples of Cortez, but I think he won one game against Arkansas. I remember he went like long. But that Tennessee game too, where was that? I guess that was who started game 2 for A&M? Prager was game 1. Was game 2 Lampkin?
Yeah, I think so.
And whoever it was, I think it was Lampkin.
I think so.
But Cortez went several innings in that game, and you kept looking up, and he had base runners like the whole time, but then he'd strike people out. And it was, he gave up, I think, 1 run, or no runs until the very end. But I think he may have given up a run in like 5 or 6 innings.
Oh, yeah. No
But just the whole time you're like, man, you can't hold on to this 1-0 lead for too long. And it was like Cortez, base runners, man, 1 hit, you're going to be behind, strikeout. Oh, got a leadoff guy on, that's trouble. 2 strikeouts. You know, like, that's what Lyons is doing in some of these games.
Yeah.
Where he's coming in, whether you're behind or whether you're up by a run or 2, in these tight situations, and he's just shown so much competitive toughness.
It's a great example. The guy I thought about, and I wrote this down, I was like, in my mind, and it's totally different again. He come from a different side too, isn't he? It's a Jacob Polish type.
I knew you were going to say him.
And I'll tell you why. I looked it up.
Probably a better comp in terms of like stuff.
Probably stuff-wise, right? But it's all guts. Guts and belief, which you have to have on that mound. And so Polish, he got off to a rough start here when he first got here, 1-year guy. And I looked it up. On April 1st of that 1 year, those first-year Schloss, you get to Omaha, finish 3rd. He had an ERA over 5. He ended the year with a total season ERA of 2.39. From April 1st through Omaha, 42 1/3, 5 runs allowed. We'll see if Lions can come up that much level of clutch heroics, but it's starting to feel a little bit like that in terms of the season layout.
Yeah.
What he's doing.
This team believes, and there's a lot to be said for that.
They really do.
When you have as much talent at the plate as they do.
Yep.
You combine that with the actual real high-end talent, and they can do something special.
Yeah, for sure.
It's baseball. It's the SEC. They just got to focus on this weekend and keep playing well, because you can.
I believe it.
You can play well and lose this series. You can also win this series, and that would be a statement. I think if they went out and got 2 in Oxford, and if you told me you're going to go, 3-3 in 6 games against Auburn and Ole Miss, home and away, I'd say, yeah, I want better, but sign me up. That's keeping you right where you need to be.
Wouldn't you take 3-3 the next 6 games? I would. If you told me 3-3
I would take
right
it,
now.
yeah, but I'm
greedy, but
part of me thinks I'm looking at what's it going to take to feel like I've got a top 8 seed going into Hoover. Not everyone says that doesn't matter, and it probably doesn't, but
LSU's won so many top 8 seeds in Hoover.
Yeah. But like if you're like right on the edge and you're battling with a fellow SEC team, and like say it's Auburn and you beat them early and then you go on a run, and it's not about the run, but it's like add those RPI wins. Like if you go, there's so many good ones to be had. So for me to feel like really good about them having a top 8 before even going in there, to me, 3-3 is fine, but 4-2, I'd feel like they're good.
Yeah.
Like if they get 19 SEC wins and they're sitting at 19-10, 9 games over 500 in the SEC, and a non-conference resume that, while it won't blow the doors off of you, there's not any hits. Your 2 non-conference hits are against number 1 neutral and Texas State road. So so you combine that with 19-10 SEC record, which by the way would probably put you, well, it would be no worse than 3rd. Texas gets Missouri.
Yeah, that's sweet.
So if they go win 2 or 3 against Tennessee and sweep Missouri, like Texas is likely to finish 2nd. Who does Georgia have? They end with I think that one of them is Kentucky.
I got it. LSU at home at Auburn.
Auburn. Oh, okay, that's the one. So when's Auburn's the last weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah.
And we're 2 games behind.
It would really help you to see LSU get them once. That would be great if LSU clipped them once.
It really
would.
But
I might be just look. It's SEC title. It's great. I just don't know if A&M can win that title with Texas getting 3 against Missouri, and that's not trashing Texas. Texas. At first, I was like, look at this. They get the 2 worst teams, Missouri and South Carolina. LSU's like a game up on South Carolina. And I was literally going, they don't have to play LSU.
Yeah.
If you'd have thrown them in, they'd have played the
defending champs.
So the Aggies played Missouri, Georgia played Missouri, Texas played Missouri. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it all worked out.
But I'm not even like so worried about the SEC title. No. It'd be nice to win one, but I would probably be rooting heavy for Georgia against Auburn, to be honest.
Okay.
I mean, if you told me,
we lost to both of them.
Hey, Georgia's going to sweep Auburn, I think Georgia's more locked into a top 8 seed. Auburn is kind of, to me, going to be one of those teams that you're right there battling with for it.
Where it's like, oh, shoot, they nipped us. They beat 2 out of 3, and they had a bit of run in Hoover. They closed stronger, and then all of a sudden, so you got to close strong.
It'd be nice to see like Georgia go take it to them.
Or Georgia definitely.
Or who knows? Maybe Georgia spits the bid against LSU and gets swept by Auburn, and then what? So there's a lot still to be done, and all A&M can do is try to win this weekend series and come home and claim a series Thursday, Friday, Saturday against State.
Before we go to basketball, not to overlook Clayton Freshcorn, 2.34 ERA, 1.13 WHIP, and 11 saves. Like, we pretty much know this because of social media, but the first time I saw it a week ago, I was like, oh, shoot. He's behind Jester and Aschenbeck. Like, he's 3 off A&M's all-time record in saves with a month and a half left if we keep winning.
He's been a badass. And speaking of Hoover, that's kind of where it was born last year. Those innings he got you against LSU when you thought kind of the season was coming to an end. They almost came back and stole that game. That was the Jace Laviolette game, I guess you'd call it. And he was so unhittable for a while against them, and it was like, damn, where was this all year? And now don't worry, you're going to see it all next year because now he's figured himself out and he's gotten confident.
I love the mindset because the sucker may be 160 pounds, I don't know, but I mean he is. You don't have to be big to throw hard.
Yeah, you don't. And when you see him in person and he comes in here, you can tell like he's a like, you know, they call it, you're from the country, what is it, you're wiry.
Yeah.
He's wiry, but you can tell that he's not like, he's got some, pop to him.
Oh, yeah.
Probably pretty athletic, too. So I think
all them hay bales down there in Waller.
He's been a stud. He's been an absolute stud, and it's nice to see. I mean, you missed that last year without Aschenbeck. It was like such a hole there, and you obviously you had Stewie, and you missed that.
Yeah, so. Last year sucked, man. Yeah. I mean, but that's baseball, and sometimes the ball tends to typically bounce kind of 50-50 and bounce back the right way. So
I love the idea of what Mike Early is going to be able to do in recruiting and portal with some actual stability and momentum. That sounds really fun. That sounds like something to we're going to have a good time following.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of recruiting and momentum, let's hit a little Aggie basketball. Because the job Bucky and this staff is doing through the portal's out of sight. You know that nobody's more locked in than my son. It's a daily thing. He wants me to send you screenshots of guys we got to go get.
Yeah.
I mean, he knew about
between you and my friend Tyson's son, Truman, between Beeston and Truman. We got Beeston and the Truman Show. And the two of them, A&M basketball could hire them just as like these guys that just pre-scout the portal.
Dude, he told you about Haggerty like early.
Yeah.
Early, like pre-Memphis.
Yep.
Like, you think Buzz get interested in this guy? Like, this guy is locked into it. So the fact you go out and get him, can you imagine the cloud nine? And we got a guy he's known about for 3 years.
That's wild.
But this guy is an automatic 20-point a night. It's darn near automatic what he's probably more than Wade. It's an automatic because he's going to get to the cup like Acuff.
Yeah, he can get to the actual basket. And he's got some length. I mean,
and look what it did for the momentum.
Between him and Bryson Warren, man.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, Jalen Reese was annoying me watching him at LSU. Like, I was this dude.
No
and then
doubt.
I like adding a guy like Tyson Archie coming from that gritty McNeese program. You know, they've picked up a lot of grit in sports since Brawninger left.
Oh,
His boy Fontenot's been there. Fontenot's got grit. When Brawny exited, all of a sudden McNeese became like a tough, roll your sleeves up and get to business.
That's right.
Athletic department. But
Archie's good. I remember he played with Haggerty too.
Yeah. So yeah, that guard position, and I know Monday is a guy that I've heard like he's going to be a demon in the press. Like he's going to really be able to help their press. So there, you add him and then Jeremiah Green going into year 2. I love what they got in the backcourt, but particularly Haggerty and Warren, man. Yeah. I mean, I know what their scoring averages are, and Warren was right under 20, and Haggerty's like 24 something. Like there are going to be nights where those two guys combine for 45 points, and then there are going to be nights where it's one of them and McKenzie and Baco.
Oh yeah,
that do it.
I think we overlook when a guy comes back. We shouldn't. This guy coming back, and we've never quite seen what he could do in this system.
No, you didn't see anything. You didn't see anything, and he's going to be he's a get his shot guy. He's got size and length. He's not going to be like your answer. Rebounding against. What are you going to do against these big giant teams? But he is going to help you in that regard, no question. I also think Cade Phillips is really going to help you on the glass. And Cade is a guy that I think too. Like, who's going to replace Rashawn Agee in the I'll fight you for the basketball. I will fight you for position. I will. I think he can be the tone setter for the toughness of this team and the fight they show, and just kind of the mental and physical toughness. Like by physical, I mean inside the paint and
I agree.
Fighting off the glass. I think Cade Phillips was a massive addition for this team as well.
I agree.
And can score. Yeah. Remember that Cade Phillips was starting at Tennessee, a team that went to the Elite Eight. And
Bama was ticked they lost him, or they didn't get him.
Yeah. NATO's probably not happy with Bucky between Cade Phillips and Rylan Griffin a year ago. That's for sure. He tried to get both of them. He was trying to get, obviously, Griffin back, trying to get Phillips, whose dad played quarterback at Alabama, and they're both in maroon and white.
Yeah. No, I mean, Luke always finds whatever stat he needs to fit his narrative.
Yeah.
But I think he makes up stats, number one. Number two, he finds things you got to get behind a paywall or something, because I don't see him on the internet. But according to Luke, I think the point was offensive rebound percentage, some sort of thing on Tuesdays or whatever. But Phillips's, whatever that is higher than Andy's was, and it's top 15 all time in the SEC. I think I read that right. In terms of just go get the basket offensively. And Andy's top 15 in the SEC at doing that.
Oh, yeah.
In his time at A&M, Mississippi State.
Andy was incredible.
Yeah, that's great. And it sounds like maybe, Bucky's not just resting on his laurels, right? There's still a roster spot.
Yeah.
So there's an opportunity to go add a player.
I think, and that could be at that small forward or power forward spot. And by the way, no one's going to be talking. He's still going to be slight, but Josh Irving was a highly regarded guy.
Seriously.
Jamie Vincent is a wild card to me on this team. Like, I think there was some, just kind of like, you need to figure out what it takes to do this every time out, to be really good. Like, do you want to be really good? And not, people are wondering like, well, why didn't they play him? I always default to, if they're not talking about an injury or we don't know about an injury, it probably has to do with, sometimes there's probably, hey, this guy had a bad week of practice. I'm not putting him in, especially for a first-year coach.
We don't see any of that.
I think if Vincent can be a consistent dude, man, he's flashed it a lot.
Yeah.
And half the time it's like, if you just hang on to some of those dunk attempts and finish them, he might double his. He gets to the basket. He's a monster on the alley-oop. So I don't know what Bryson Warren and Jalen Reese, what their alley-oop game is, but
I bet it's good.
But Vincent can play above the damn rim, and he has good timing for that and feel for. And then again, like you see games like Texas, that first half against Alabama, he was on fire for a little bit. So you've seen glimpses of like, this is what he can look like at his best. And if you can just, I mean, he's not going to, clearly if he looks like that all the time, then this is a whole different basketball team. But if he can just look like that much more consistently than he did a year ago, and I think that's a reasonable expectation, or not expectation, but it's a reasonable possibility anyway, for him to make that kind of leap.
I agree. Also, Haggerty's ability to get to the basket draws that help. He's also a 5 assists a game guy for a reason. A lot of that's the lob game. That's a positive. And also, wouldn't they have put more? I know bigs were too expensive this year, so the going rate was outrageous, right?
Yeah.
But if he was a glaring hole, you had to have paid something.
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't necessarily focus on that too much, to me, says a lot about what they think about Vince.
And we know Clemens was one of the best stories last year. And he was playing banged up down the stretch there in the postseason. So, and I thought U of H, just a tough matchup for him and everybody that was trying to play football there under the basket. Like those two.
Seriously, that was a nightmare.
But the one I mentioned Vincent, but Jalen Shelley is super interesting to me too. Have you watched his highlights?
Yeah. Rebounder, 6'8".
And gets to the back. I love the way he comes off that wing and can get and finish.
Yep. He would have been a nice component with Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers there at Loyola Marymount. He really would have.
Yeah. But I like a slasher with length that can finish, and that's what he looks like to me.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's close with a little semi-rapid fire post-spring ball 3-pack.
Okay.
That's what we like to do here. This is 3 topics, 3 answers per topic. Number 1, Aggie football off the spring. Give me 3 newcomers that stood out most, really rose above the rest of them. Like there's obviously more than 3. Any newcomer can be a freshman.
Aaron Gregory's 1A, 1B. He looked sensational. It's funny because he looked great all spring. He looked like he's ready to just force his way. ABR, Bussy was having a great spring before he got. Looked like one of the best players for A&M. Period. And obviously, Craver was an absolute monster, and Horton looked every bit as good as advertised. But Gregory's he's still going to play, despite all those names. He's going to play, and And then in the spring game, it was like, oh shoot, I'm watching. And I'm like, Brandon Arrington looks really damn. Right. But Arrington playing corner, I just think it's so much harder, especially when you're playing in the SEC and you unlike wide receiver, you're going to be tackling people and stuff. And
physicality.
I think he'll be a guy that as the year goes on, you'll start seeing more and more of him working, factoring in. But to me, newcomers, do we count Portal too?
Yep. Anybody new on the roster?
Anto Saka, I think I think better than advertised. And he was a nice pickup, but part of it was, he's from Northwestern. They're not the Big Ten power. And then second, the sack numbers weren't like, oh my God, look at that. But I watch him. I'm like, he's a stud. He's going to get drafted. I don't know if he's so is he in some ways he reminds me of like a Nick Scorton. In other ways, he reminds me of Cassius. But he plays, I think he's good against the run and pass. And I think he's got like a toughness to him too.
If he dominates your scouting report and he's by far the best player on that defense, his numbers probably wouldn't be as good as maybe they are here with more help.
Yeah. So I'll go, for sure. I'll go Anto Saka. And then I'm just going to, there were a couple of surprises, like Ryan Henderson.
Oh, yeah.
Trovon Ball, guard, like everybody assumes, he wasn't like one of the big name. Not that they had many. There was such a bad O-line, but he's coming. I think if I'm picking a starting lineup today, I'm probably picking him at left guard in my mind. But I'm actually going to go with. This is a tough one for me. So I go, and this is a good problem to have. Tafik Bayard.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go the duo. I'm splitting it. I'm going to go Formby and Horton, the 2 Alabama players. They impressed the hell out of me this spring, both of them.
Why are the internet wise guys down on form?
I don't know. Because Bama was.
Me.
Because Bama was, and that's what they're told to do.
Uh-huh.
And
interesting. Well, they're doing spin control there.
But did Bama's O-line coach get fired? Because I believe he might have.
I don't remember.
And, you know, they had an offensive line with a first-round pick in Proctor that couldn't block.
True.
So there's something. Yeah. There was something going on there.
And run that ball, though.
Far too many people, I think, even in our own fan base, and by in our own fan base, I mean the Twitter fan base, is like, oh, I read this, I saw this, I'm going to state this as fact.
Groupthink.
I don't know how it's going to go, but I know the opinion of Twitter and the opinion of, like, fans in Tuscaloosa versus the opinion of the people that recruited him here and watched him this spring, including the players going against him. There's quite the divide there. It's a night and day difference. Yeah. I liked what I saw.
Good. And then Horton, 3B or 3A, is a no-doubter. Wow.
Nah, I'm glad people got to see what he can do in the spring game with some of these catches. Like, that one was tough, and then he comes out and they'll show the next one here was twice as hard.
You come out wearing 7 right off the bat, you better be freaking good.
Yeah.
And he is.
He is really good. He's just got such a great feel for his frame. I was walking down the sideline right about that time with Easy Wachiku, and you know, Easy was a really good receiver to him, and he was like, damn. He's like, he's big. Yeah. I'm like, Easy played with Jeff Fuller and Mike Evans. Yeah. He knows, and he was still like, damn. And he's not as tall as those guys. His arms aren't as long. He's built like a damn SEC linebacker, but that can. And so I think what happens is I think he runs a lot better than people think with that size, and it works to his advantage.
I'm fired up about that guy. Well, the day Cam goes to Texas, like, boom, we got our guy. And he hadn't looked back. Like, I'm fired up about that.
That was kind of A&M wouldn't have gotten, I don't think, Horton had they gotten Cam, but it wasn't. They would have tried probably too. I mean, just if you could get, but I don't know that they needed both in the portal, but that was like those two were so good. But the fact that Horton was coming available is such a blessing for A&M because and Cam's different. He's got the size and he's a true outside, but he's also like I said though, and I know what Cam could be a first, but Cam does drop. He did and does or has dropped a lot of passes.
Who's the more productive player in college so far?
My thing is I watched the Iron Bowl.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
One guy had 3 touchdowns. One guy fumbled the game away late. That doesn't mean like I wanted Cam Coleman in maroon and white. I wanted him out of high school when he was committed. I remember he committed the day I landed. I knew he was committing. It was July 4th. I landed in Telluride or in what's it called? Montrose, and driving like hour and a half to Telluride, and you're losing service. I'm like, dude, I know this guy's coming. We literally got there, unpacked, do everything. You lose concentration. We're at like a grocery store, and I'm like, I told everyone here, like, text me as soon as it happens because I'm not going to be living on Twitter. And then boom, and I have to go outside, and I'm like in the mountains doing this and finding. Hell yeah, I wanted Cam Coleman.
Of course,
I loved writing that commitment story. And then you had the coaching change, but
they're both 9.8 out of 10.
But Isaiah Horton is a proven.
Yeah,
he did it at Miami. He did it at Bama, and I just think, man, I think you got some dudes between. I think you got the speed of ABR and Craver. You've got the versatility of Bussey. You've got the pure playmaking ability of those two, Craver and Ashton. You've got the size and like go up and get it of Horton, and then and obviously I mentioned Gregory, but then you've got like people forget about TK Norman, who's filled out some and made a couple plays last year where you go, oh wait, I think it was LSU where I go, it's TK, and he was a real pleasant surprise last year, and then you've got Jaden Warren and Mike Brown, and every day I'm out there at practice, somebody different is somebody different was out there making plays. They have 4. Madden Williams. Like, there are days where I'm like, who the hell? Oh, it's Madden Williams. He's going up and skying up and catching it in stride and landing and just taking. It's like these dudes are. That's a hell of a freshman receiving core to go along with a hell of a group already here. And if you start to look at the offensive line, Gabe, you look at if they can close out Mark Matthews, and you look at and then they still have Simeon and Ish Kamara. I think they can get one of them two to go with. This is like a class. It's like signing the Joko Matthews Obuehi class, which, by the way, also included who?
Clink and Grambling.
Clink was what would be now like a late rising 5-star. But
true,
it would be like signing that class after you've already built it on the other side of it. That was the building block. Their building block they fielded 5 NFL draft picks up front last year. Now, should they have played better in the last 3 games? Sure.
Yep.
It's tough. You're they had 5 NFL draft picks. Why didn't they? Well, the running game wasn't working. You're like, well, was it play calling? Was it design? Was it scheme? Was it they didn't play as well? Or maybe a little had to do with it that you had 5 NFL linemen, but you had Colin Simmons, Dylan Stewart, Ruben Bain, and Akeem Mesidor as pass rushers in those. They kind of tend to. It's 5 NFL guys versus 4 top 15 pass rushers.
Yeah.
Is what I mean. Something had to give, and unfortunately, but throughout the course of the year, that was a really good A&M offensive line, one of the absolute best in the SEC, not really up for debate. And counting Naboo, they had 5 NFL picks. Well, then you went and got 4 SEC guys with extensive starting experience, but you also kept everybody that you view as the next wave of draft picks that you didn't want to lose to the portal.
That's right.
Blake Ivy, Robbie Bordon, Lamont Rogers, who really I thought was on an accelerated curve this spring, and there's several more. There's several more we can talk about. Nelson McGuire, Ashton Funk. You got a really nice crew of young Tyler Thomas. I think he's going to factor in. A lot of these guys are going to compete to start at the guard spots with Baugh and Cohen Eccles this year. That'll be the most interesting, in my opinion, the most interesting battles will be what goes on for those 2 guard spots during fall camp.
Yeah, and if Lamont just goes and steals something, how does that shake out inside then if he's outside, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's good. All right, question 2 then. Who are the 3 returning players who clearly took a major step? I'm not saying 3 best players on the roster. They took a huge step this spring. No order, just 3 guys that really took a step.
I mean, I mentioned Lamont, but I want to say returning that they've played. Sure. So I'll just to narrow it down, that they've played a little bit. I would have said Terry Bussey, even though he only did a week, because he was that good. And my sources tell me that. What I saw at practice told me that. And then him during the offseason and everything I was hearing. And then on top of that, what the players are saying when they come in here. Julio Humphrey, for sure. One of maybe the most improved. He took a big jump, and it was a byproduct of his offseason, too. I wrote about him prior to spring. I said, look, this guy's having a terrific offseason. He seems motivated by it being his last year. There were people I talked to that kind of half expected him to transfer because I don't think A&M was going to go and for lack of a better word, overspend when he still had attention coming from a lot of different places, but he stuck with it, and I think mentally he's locked in. So I would say,
well, these are the kind of things you were saying about Dez last year.
Yeah, you're right.
So pay attention, TexAgs.
Yeah, Dez a little different though because he was younger. Julio is just a guy that's hey, this is my last shot. But remember, this is a guy that started their cornerback position. You got one that started 2 years here in this defense under Elko that was recruited to Alabama by Nick Saban. And I know Saban talked to some people, said, yeah, he was going to be next in line for us. he was set to be that guy. Was he behind Terry and Arnold? And he was behind 2 NFL, like a first and second round pick.
Arnold for sure.
So you got a guy that Nick Saban signed out of high school and believed in. You got a guy that started 10 games 2 years ago for Kirby Smart in Georgia. And you got a guy that started at Tennessee that was, had he been healthy this year, everybody thought he was going to be a pretty high round NFL pick. So, and you have a 5-star freak of nature that's just waiting to get his feet wet and get a little experience in Brandon Arrington and some depth. I love it. You know who else I'll say the third name though?
Yeah.
I'm going to stick in the secondary. I'm going to say one that I haven't mentioned a lot this spring. I'm going to say Jordan Shaw.
You like him as a nickel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he's he quietly did some things last year, but the most notable was he covered Malachi Toney a lot in that Miami game after Tyreek Chappelle went down, and there he is. You know, it was at Mississippi State
forcing the fumble, or wasn't it?
Yeah.
Or was it? Yeah.
He's got a knack. There's something about him I like, and then he's a different player. By all accounts, you talk to anybody, he's a different player than he was a year ago coming over from Washington, and he's
heck yeah,
he's a good one, and I think he's going to help A&M win football games.
I love it.
I think they've come a long way in like 2 years in the secondary. It really, like, if you look at secondary and wide receiver, if you look 2 years ago when Mike Elko, like coming out of spring, what those two positions look like, they have come a long, long way.
Oh yeah, you didn't even mention like those safeties have played so much football.
Yeah,
Brooks, Ratcliffe, Anderson, Byard, and Miles. I mean, that's a good 5 right there.
I mean, Miles is in year 3 now.
Yep,
he's experienced. He's ready to make a contribution.
All right, 3 quick lingering concerns. You're still like, all right, I would like to see this in the summer kind of get resolved as we get into fall camp.
For me, well, the biggest one that we won't know until we know is that run defense and just too many explosive plays really, killed them last year. You think about Trey Wisner didn't run on anyone last year. He goes crazy in Austin. That's why they won that game.
No question.
3 points in the second half, and then this guy just starts ripping off. I mean, literally, like the first drive, he goes for 50, and it's like changed the whole tone of that game. Miami, you've got them pinned deep. It's timing up where you're going to get the ball back and have it last in a 3-3 game, needing just a field goal. What does he go? 57, 63 yards? And I know Fletcher was on fire during that run, but again, it was just that was an all-year thing.
Yeah.
Look, from the last game we saw at Kyle Field to the first last year, UTSA, when he goes for 150 and opens the second half with a 75-yard touchdown run. Utah State comes out the next week, long touchdown run. I know Ahmad Hardy's really damn good. They're having gash plays in that one, including right at the very beginning. Arkansas, like their first or second play of the game, gaping hole, and Washington goes for like 50. So,
let alone Taylor Green,
but see, I kind of won't count that. A little different with the QB.
He does that on everybody.
But even other guys do it on everyone. But I'm just saying, like the running back design run game pops, and it's something that I know Elko is putting a ton of thought. So that'll lead me into my number 1 as linebacker. I still, with Sanford getting hurt, I think people way over. I understand the visceral reaction to that gruesome injury, but I think people since are paying too much attention to what's being said nationally. I think that information is wrong in terms of like what they're kind of presenting as a timeline. I think you'll see Damian Sanford back much sooner than people expect. I'm not going to put false hopes on a specific date, but I'll just say you guys don't need to wring your hands as much as you are.
Thank God.
But so I think Sanford was like really good last year and showed flashes of like a all SEC linebacker, but there were also plays. You go watch that play, I think, by Fletcher. There were plays where you just, he's got to get better with the fits, or the coaches have to figure out ways to where we're not sitting there so many times during the year talking about fits.
Yeah.
Noah has to make a big jump. I think he will. He had the pick 6 in the spring game. I really think, every time I looked up, I felt like he was pressuring the quarterback, but he's got to make the jump. And you're bringing in a transfer in Coney, Lockhart. So linebacker's a question for me. I'm just like, I think they need to be good. And so the concern is, will they be? I think they will, but it's a concern because I can't answer you that for sure right now.
Think they go a lot of dime with Byard's ability in the box because you're so thin a linebacker?
Well, I don't know if I would say they'll go a lot of dime. You want to go much dime against teams that they see really. That and go.
But he's really good at tackling.
I think he'll
just shooting the gaps.
I think he'll help you in that regard because I do think tackling at safety was an issue for A&M last year too. So you think of some of those plays like Arch Manning's touchdown run. And you think about Nick Harbor's 75. Those are short plays that turn into long ones. But it's also, again, it's where Elko has to say, okay, what do we need to do so it's not so much pressure on the safety? Where he's working on that.
Oh yeah,
I promise you he is. But the safeties do need to tackle better. That's for damn sure. And I think they. My concern, I say linebacker. I would say, you cannot downplay. You can't downplay losing 4 starters up front to the NFL. You just can't. Yeah. And I know I like what they've got, and I can mentally put you together an O-line that I would feel good about. But it's 4 new faces. You have to mesh. There has to be, so I'm glad they did it the way they did it, but it's still, when you lose 4 out of 5 starters and really 5 of your top 6, it's absolutely maybe 6 of your top 7 if you count Coley. So it's absolutely a lingering concern until it's not. And then I think
I got 2 options.
I want to see
one of them.
Is you going to say quarterback and running back?
No, I was going to say tight end or defensive tackle.
I feel good about tight end.
Okay, good.
Now, I don't feel...
Mortgage being a second rounder is like, dang, we did lose a dude.
I feel a lot better about D-tackle. I feel good about D-tackle.
Okay, good.
Hicks had a great spring. I liked Mims. I thought they got help. And McCullum is not going to be talked about. He's a strong-ass dude, man. He's
good.
Really low center of gravity and quick. Like, you can tell how strong he is against the run. Swain is a guy that I think his upside is through the roof. He was banged up some in spring. So, and then you've got Sanders, rocket ship going up. Rink really improved over last year. I saw him this week. He's taller than me. You think about, like, I'm over 6'2", and you think about, like, oh, he's kind of an undersized. No, he's not. He's not. I don't know where we created that. He's not 6'4", 330, but he's a dude, man. He's a hard-playing dude. So that inside position, and you're going to get Sims back, who injured his knee in fall camp last year, and he's going to be cleared full go starting camp, and he's a guy that everyone was. Remember, you had to hold off Texas right till the bitter end for him. So I love the depth and what they've got at D. Yeah, I wish they had a first round inside guy. Like, I wish I could take, like, even though you didn't go in the first round, like Bobby Brown and put him, that mountain of a Red Bryant or somebody, like this mountain of a dude that just like, okay, we got him. And
I don't follow like you in terms of what happened in the spring. I only think about Regis and on you hit him. I'm like, oh shoot. So that's where my concern was.
I think your starters could be every bit as good. I think
good.
I think with Hicks, Hicks has to be that dude, and he looked like it. I think, maybe your third guy isn't as good as a third guy of Hicks last year, but I think the depth is better. Without question, the depth is better.
Yeah.
The key would be like Ken, and I'll say Mims. It doesn't have to be Mims, but can Hicks and Mims be as good as Regis and Onyedem? And I think they could.
Awesome.
So I like that position.
So your third concern?
I think it's running back. The NFL kind of makes that a position where it's not the most coveted or almost like respected in terms of the draft, but
yeah,
it's not. I think that Ruben had a nice bounce back year, but he's got to, I think, make a big step, which I'm not saying he can't. If he does, man, it changes my whole feel for this team and offense.
Mm-hmm.
But Ruben's got to make a big step. I think Jamarian Morrow could be a total stud. I feel like I need to be right. Like, he doesn't need to be just a guy. I think Morrow's got something about him. I think he has the potential to be electric. But again, largely unproven. He had some moments last year, Florida, LSU. Loved him last camp, loved him last spring.
Not a great passer of the football, but we don't need to be doing that.
Don't let him throw it anymore. Is he a lefty? Don't let him throw it anymore. Or maybe don't call that damn play.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And then I think that play call, by the way, was unexpected to the head coach. I don't know. That was that
and to the
F me reaction.
Yes,
I don't think the head coach thought that was one they were going to dial up down there at the goal line in that situation.
Yikes.
Ready to put the game away.
I do like Morrow though. I mean, juice for days.
He does, but he's got to be. It's like, and Edwards missed most of spring with the injury. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be special, and I think that with Baker, I think they got themselves and he wasn't a sleeper when you look at his recruiting rankings, right?
I mean, Carson Baker.
Yeah, but he wasn't a sleeper based on his rankings and stuff. But I think because it was so late and Aggie fans didn't get a chance, even we didn't really get a chance to, like, an extended run up to that. But because it was so late, people didn't allow themselves to get super excited about it. But he's like a big, fast back.
That reminds me of a quarterback that's on our team right now that we didn't get a run up to, and he didn't get a whole lot of hype. Which is
and people would be saying, like, why didn't you mention Marcel in your concerns? He is, but to me, he's more of a concern of, can he be, like, great this year? I think Marcel's so much better than people want to give him credit for. And
totally.
Forget about fans on the outside, but I'm talking about media and even in a lot of cases, Aggies themselves. Like, dude had a great year last year, and I get it. Like, he had a lot of talent around him. He had a veteran O-line. But I have this argument every time, and Amanda and I will debate this till the end of time on moving goalposts. It'll be, we've decided to, like, take a pause in it, and it's going to be like, we will revisit the Arch Marcel this coming year. This dude was you're going into game 12, and if he'd have beat Texas with just not pedestrian, but like decent game, he's going to the SEC title game with a chance to go to New York. And those are two massive steps, and he didn't hit those steps. It's part of the thing, but with 11 games in, he had a real chance to go to New York. I didn't make that up.
No.
Everyone else was talking about it. It doesn't have to do with when Cat and Aggie football decided to do a Heisman push. They didn't do that till the very end. They were strategic about it. They didn't jump the gun. It was what everyone else was saying around the country. And no one said he was going to win it. But he was certainly in the discussion as someone that could go to New York.
100%.
And so my argument all the time has been this. Like, if you want to say, well, Arch, once he got the blocking, they got that O-line fixed, look what he did. I'd say, man, I could put, just because his ending looked better than Marcel's, I could kind of put the two together in the season and say, okay, show me their 3 or 4 best games, and let's compare those. Show me common opponents, and let's compare those. And then somebody will say, well, Arch won head-to-head. Yeah, and that is one of what I would put under show me their bad games, and I would put that one for Marcel.
Mm-hmm. They both had terrible first halves of some games, like Mississippi State for Arch, and then second half.
Those are very similar games.
South Carolina for Marcel, second half.
Very similar games.
Mm-hmm.
Bad first half, your team was getting smoked. Elite second half, you won the game.
Yep.
Against inferior opponents. But I'll say, like, there are there are games where, to me, like Marcel, he was never like, Auburn, he wasn't that good, but it turned into one of those, hey, we're going to grind it out games. And he had the bad interception, or I guess, was it a fumble or an interception, the pass to Bussey, the screen? Mm-hmm. That was both. I thought it was a bad call. Bussey bobbled it. I watched them last year, and the thing I will say about Marcel is, man, his bad games, first half against South Carolina and Texas and Miami, right? What was the common denominator? I'm going to tell you. No Le'Veon Moss, and I mentioned it earlier, the O-line got bested by all three of those D-lines, like against top 5, top 10 pass rushers in college football, like some of the best of the best. So my point in saying that is, if you're going to use Arch got better once he had a competent O-line in front of him. I'm not saying A&M's O-line was incompetent in the last 3 games, but in those games, he had no running game and he was under a hell of a lot of pressure. It doesn't matter that they all got drafted. What matters is how much physical pressure was the defensive front able to put on you. And he was
too much
feeling it, against those teams. And so like
Arch was feeling it against Ohio State.
Yeah. Could he have played better and not made some of the mistakes he made? Definitely against South Carolina. He wasn't seeing it. I think that was a scheme thing as much as anything. He wasn't seeing it, in the first half. And then against Texas, like you can't make those 2 throws. Craver's open for a touchdown on that one. Theo was open right away. But on both of those interceptions, he was under pressure straight up the middle immediately. And so I'm not making an excuse. He's got to eat that, throw it away, or step all the way into it and just bite down on your mouthpiece, right? But that's something Kellen would do a lot of. And Marcel did it on one of those, that touchdown throw to Ashton against South Carolina. You got to do that sometimes, or you throw it away. We live to see another down. And those are decisions that I think come with experience. But my point of that is, when his play went down, it was when the Aggie O-line started having some problems against pretty elite rushers, and when the running game failed to produce. Same reason you're telling me that the other guys struggled throughout the first half of the year. And I know that was an even a worse O-line, but it is what it is. Like, okay, you play Miami and Bain and Mesidor and their inside guys are breathing down your neck the whole game. I don't care if it's UTEP or Miami. If you've got bodies and hands and blockers in your face, during a game, it's tough. Your performance is going to slip. So I just think people are a little too hard on that finish in terms of putting it all on him. But I also will sit here and tell you, I know he's got to get, I think this football here, I'll end it with this, right? I think this football team is as good as it was last year. Like when I sit here this spring versus last spring, I think the schedule, unless a lot of these teams are overrated, I think this schedule is going to be significantly tougher. And I think to have a same or similar, meaning get back to the playoff record, Marcel is the one that will have to be significantly better. So same type level team.
Yep.
Here goes his schedule. Guess what? Here goes your quarterback. Welcome back to the playoffs.
Exactly.
That's what I think.
Yep. You better believe it. All right. No Easton's Corner this week simply because I forgot.
Wow.
He's got that going. He had a dental appointment.
Sorry, Easton.
I know. Yeah, he's going to be all mad when he sees this.
It's summertime. Maybe you get him in studio for Easton's Corner.
That'd be fun.
In a couple weeks.
That'd be fun. He'd love to do it.
Yep.
All right, episode 19 of the books. Thank you, Lucci.
All right.
Aggie baseball in Oxford.
We put him right there or right there.
That'd be good.
Like
get a little social center action going. That'd be great.
All right.
All right. Aggies in Oxford this weekend. It's going to be fun. 3-game series against Ole Miss. Should be a good one. Gig 'em. Let the good times roll. We'll talk to you very soon.